All right, welcome everyone. I know it's a little bit of a smaller crowd because it is middle of summer, end of summer, depending on what your school season typically looks like. But just welcome if you are here and know that, again, this is recorded if you need to pass it on to any of your team who couldn't make it. But we are going to be talking through the features in release 2 today. So as always, it's recorded. If you have a question at any point, feel free to raise your hand at the bottom, and we do leave time at the end for Q&A. So our agenda for today, we're going to go through some membership enhancements, some portal enhancements, some updates to payment processing, and some adjustments, rollover improvements. We're going to touch on Engage optimization that we did, as well as just a general list of some additional features and bug fixes. And if you did happen to join today, I have a pretty good sneak peek at 5 things that are coming down the pipeline for you. As always, we just review our install timeline. So we have our release notes and features meeting. Once you are comfortable and have reviewed those with your team, you can deploy it to your sandbox. We encourage you to test your specific user flows, test with your data that's in there. And then once you're ready, after it's been a minimum of 2 days, you can request that that gets deployed to your production. All right, so starting off with some membership enhancements. This one's been a bit of a long time coming and pretty requested across the board, but we've created a display ordinal. So now on memberships, you can choose which memberships you would like to display at the top of both the portal and the menu. So this lets you put things like your promotional membership at the top. If you have core packages that you typically tend to sell, it lets you prioritize those at the top. This is displayed based on the display ordinal field, which will be added to the package. If you do not populate it, we just default to our standard alphabetical, and anything without a value will default to that alphabetical as well. So the lower the number, the higher it is up in your list. We've also brought the filters from the Avocado portal into the Avocado menu. So giving you the ability to filter on minimum age, max age, and category, just to make your staff's lives a little bit easier. If they're looking for a promotional membership or looking for a staff membership, they have the ability to do that going forward. Again, no real configuration here. This is based on your current setup. We're just bringing that functionality into the menu. Continuing on with membership and with these categories, we had a request that if there's no memberships publicly visible to your portal users, to hide those categories. So now you will only see categories in the dropdown that have packages available for sale. So if you offer things like staff memberships that you maybe only want to sell in the menu, but you want to use that category for it, you don't have to worry about seeing that in your list in the dropdown in the portal anymore. Okay, one of our big features for this release is, I know we kind of teased it in our most recent user group, but we have the option to do selectable packages. So this is designed primarily for courses. So with the idea that I'm registering for a session where I have to do something in class, and then I have optional add-ons, I can select those add-ons. We do see that there is likely a desire to use this for camp. If it is something you would like to use for camp, or it's something you would like to use for like a higher volume type of registration, we're asking for beta testers for this to kind of go through, test it in Sandbox, give us your feedback so that we can release a version 2 that's a little more suited for kind of those higher volume camp scenario situations. So essentially, when you create packages, you now have the ability to select a type of selectable package, and then you can mark relevant instances in that package as optional or required. For your optional, you do have the ability to set a minimum and a maximum. So if I have to select at least one optional instance, you can configure that. There are some limitations with our version 1 that are kind of stated here, but again, we're really looking for, if this is something you're interested in using for the upcoming camp season, to get it in your sandbox, get a test run through, give us your feedback so that we can make sure that this is working the way you need it to moving forward in the future. And if that is something you're interested in being a beta tester for, I just encourage you to reach out to either myself or your account manager, and we can help you get that set up. We do have a config sheet we can pass along. For anyone who has the custom Avocado portal, we added in a outstanding balance Lightning Web component just to bring back some of that functionality that we had in the original UI. So you do now have a component that you can add to your page. We will add this on deployment for you. If you do not want this in your deployment, or you want it in a very specific spot, again, just reach out to your account manager as you schedule that deployment, and we can make sure it goes in the spot that you need it to. But basically, very comparable to what it used to do, shows if you have an outstanding balance, and then sends you to the outstanding payments page to pay that balance due. There's also obviously Clara Horton's account because she owes quite a bit of money. Hopefully that's not a real life scenario for anyone here. For our clients who are kind of looking at maybe a new payment processor, specifically our Canadian clients, we do now have card present support for Nuvei. So this allows us to work with our friends at eCard and do card present PIN pad transactions with them. So if that is something you are interested in, again, I encourage you to reach out to your account manager on what implementing that looks like. Another bit of a requested piece of functionality that's rolled out in this release is a buy X, get one discounted promotion. So these are like your BOGO, your buy 3, get 1 free, buy 1, get 1 half off, those types of adjustments. So this is a new set of functionality. We currently have it available for program registrations. So buy 9 swimming lessons, get the 10th free, buy 3 days of school holiday PA day programming and get the 4th free. You can set it up that way. It is controlled on the adjustment. So you're going to set it to program family, define your typical expiry and effective dates. You can choose what you would like your discounted amount to be. If it's $1 off, if you want to do a percentage, you have that option. You can set your specific location if you wish. So if it's only at maybe one branch that you offer, or if it's global, you have the opportunity to do that there. And as well, you can set the minimum number of units here. So if I have to buy 3 to get my 3rd free, I'm setting my minimum to 3. The next set of features are really contingent on rollover functionality. So a lot of this is if you are doing perpetual registrations, gymnastics or swim lessons are kind of where we see this the most, where people are just consistently in the program. This one, some of these may or may not apply to childcare as well if you're using the functionality there. But the first one is allowing you to overbook instances. So if I am in my September month, happy that makes you happy, Vic. If I'm in my September month and I have a max of 10 participants, but maybe I know there's an exception and I need to put an 11th in, checking this will allow you to continue to roll that 11th person throughout your programs. If you do not wish to do that, you can leave it false, which is the default, which means it will continue to work the way it currently does. And if you do have that overbooked instance, your last registrant will be put on the wait list. The next one is client editable rollover end dates. I know that's a bit of a mouthful, but essentially most of you, I believe, are hiding this with custom CSS currently. but we gave you the option on whether or not you want to let people change their end date via a field instead of custom code. So if I check this, I'm basically allowing my portal members to set their contract end date. And if I leave it unchecked, which is our default behavior, they would not be able to amend their contract. So for this one, we're just asking if you do have that custom CSS, you work with us so that we can kind of get rid of that and move towards this functionality going forward, just because it makes it a little cleaner and a little easier. We know immediately looking at it if they should or should not be able to edit that rollover contract. The next one is registration ending based on the rollover contract end date. So how we currently have this configured is the date you set on your contract end is the last day we allow you to roll over. Once that date passes, you're no longer rolled into the next month. What we've done with this new functionality is given you the option to say, I want to roll them over, but up till this day. So maybe you have a child who's leaving your care on the 15th. I still want them to roll into my next month. So I'm going to allow that rollover contract to roll, but I'm going to set their contract date to the 15th, and I'm going to restrict the registration to the contact end, which means that they are going to be scheduled based on their rollover dates up until the 15th and charged a prorated amount, whether that's attendance determines billing and a per day amount or a prorated amount of the instance. They will remain registered and then just cease to roll after that 15th occurs. So this just gives you a little bit more flexibility into not having to let them roll for part of it and then create a refund and give them some money back. You can just roll them up until the day you need them in the class. You will just still want to be mindful of your capacity when managing this. And then the final rollover one is we updated our rollover email just to give you a little more detail to make it a little easier to troubleshoot some of the issues that come up. So you will now, as part of this email, get the registration record associated with it. So you do have the SFID. So it'll make it a little easier for you to go and look. Again, we did add some additional messaging for what the errors are, but the key piece is that you now have that ID. You can go reference that record in Salesforce. We did some updating to Engage just to make it work a little quicker. So when you are checking in, checking out members of programs, this will now load a little faster for you. So we did quite a bit of optimization to try to make it load as quickly as possible. Obviously, it's still network-based, so we can't fix a network issue, but from our side, we did what we could to speed up the loading just to make it quicker to check people in and out. And then some additional bug fixes and features. Deposits were being charged in certain circumstances on every occurrence in a facility booking, so we've cleaned that up. We've cleaned up some text area long displaying in Forms and Engage. We did an update to the batch delete draft orders job to make sure that if staff put a membership or a registration order back into draft, that is not going to be erroneously deleted. We've done some updates to receipts at the point of sale that occur across multiple accounts. So when you have those third-party payers or other client payments, we just did some cleanup there. There is a decent amount of Mango updates here. Things like loading, making sure buttons are grayed out while stuff is loading, cleanup to some of the feedback that you all gave us throughout your beta testing. So quite a few of those, all the details are in the release notes. I just didn't want to put like 14 tasks in here to tell you every single thing that we adjusted, but a lot of Mango, just kind of small UI cleanup things for you to just have a smoother experience. We have fixed some subsent issues that were occurring, so you should hopefully not encounter those when you're doing refunds. We updated the membership holds flow so that if you have a bunch of holds or a bunch of renewals rather in the future, when you recalculate that hold, you're not going to hit issues. Same with if you had a bunch of orders created and you went to go past, make a past hold. When that recalculates, we've optimized that. So that should hopefully reduce any need for you to contact support when going on holds. We fixed some issues with bulk canceling instances for some of our clients who have registration fees or membership fee flows with custom code. So those are cleaned up. We added the root object dropdown in Mango. So now in Mango, when you're creating a template in the interface, you can select the root object, which lets you kind of choose, I'm creating a registration email. Here's my related merge fields so that we can ensure those merge fields work when you send them through Salesforce or Mailgun. And we just did some back-end tax receiving cleanup just to optimize that process a little bit better for any tax deductible orders with third-party or other client payments. All right, on to what is upcoming. So for these, you're not allowed to hold me to any of the screenshots because some of these are active mock-ups or proof of concepts. They're just designed to kind of give you an idea of where we're going. Obviously, as this functionality is rolled out, they will appear in release presentations. You will get more detail. But just to give you an idea of what's currently on our roadmap, the first thing we are working on is adding the ability to invoice at the point of sale. If you had asked Avocado for this, I did try to reach out to anyone I was aware of that was looking for this functionality to get some additional detail. But our first iteration is really just giving you the ability to create that invoice with a customizable PO number. You'll be able to do this on any order at the point of sale, not just facility bookings. And then adding some different abilities for third party or split billing if you have another client payer to be able to invoice both of those separately across one order. So that is in the works. Additionally, we have a pretty significant forms update coming. So this is really pulling forms to the front line of your staff and your portal users. So making a bit of a more in-your-face interface for people who have incomplete forms, people who have expiring forms. Additionally, we added certificates of signature so you can see when someone signed them. Just gives you a little bit more of a leg to stand on so that you can say, actually, you did sign this on the portal on this day. It saves this as a record. We have PDF generation here as well, so you can generate and download PDFs, have those live on the account. And then the final thing is we did add a bulk form assignment, so you can search by programs, search by memberships, search by locations, and assign all of those subsets of groups a form. So if you know once a year you need to send everyone a new terms and conditions or liability waiver, you can use this bulk form assignment, and that will now appear as incomplete on both the members portal and on the staff homepage when they land on the account. The next thing we are working on is affiliates and kind of relationships. So we have an associations object coming to Avocado. And what this allows you to do is in the Avocado menu, it lets you to associate contacts with accounts or organizations. So if you have a corporate account that someone is affiliated with and you want to track this, you can set this up in the menu so that staff can see that maybe Joe Smith belongs to my board or belongs to this charity that I offer a corporate discount to. You can link them to trainers, boot camps. Children can be linked to things like schools if you have schools frequently coming in your facility. And then this does allow you to do standard Salesforce reporting as well on the object so that you can see everyone associated with that account or contact. We are continuing to build out QuickServe V2, so you are going to get some nice images. I promised those would be coming. So there will be images on the point of sale. Additionally, we have added a quick contact creation. So knowing that maybe you have a family swim and someone's coming up and you allow non-members to attend and you just want to add them quickly into the system, you can do a quick add. We also added the search for contacts. You can find a contact in the system instead of being required to scan their barcode. And then this just gives you the ability to really complete that sale super quick. Staff don't have to go into the Avocado menu to create an account or contact and all the additional information required. They can just do it real time in this quick serve point of sale. And then final thing for everyone to be aware of is we have a Cantaloupe V2. We are currently beta testing this with a few sites just to get some feedback before we start rolling it out. This kind of gives you the best of both worlds. It gives you the gate kicking ability of current Cantaloupe mixed with kind of the more modern UI of Kiwi. It does run in a way that you can look into what's going on across your facility. So I can, as a user at my home, if I have access, log in and see what's going on at my front gate, my back gate, who's my recent checked in, as well as you can permission that out to different staff to be able to have access to different doors. So this is functionality that's coming. Again, we will be rolling it out kind of strategically. Your account managers will be in touch if this is something applicable to you about when this is available and what makes sense for rolling it out to your environments. That is all I have for today. So as always, the presentation recording will be sent out as well as the release notes. But here if anyone has any questions. Going on. Thanks, Corey. If there are no questions, I hope you all have a great day and a good kind of wrap up to your summer before we all jump into what I assume will be a busy September for most of us. But yeah, from the TechShare team, reach out to your account managers to get this scheduled for your sandbox. And then we'll be in touch with some of those upcoming features when rollout time applies. Thanks, everyone.